any proposal is ripe for refusal, it is Botley West, with so many negative impacts. Highly visible, contoured, productive farmland and pasture, mostly in the green belt, 10 watercourses with flooding issues, 70 kilometres of enclosed footpaths, very close to the UK's biggest centre for training pilots, Oxford Airport, dripping with heritage, and a UNESCO World Heritage Site being put at risk of losing its status and its visitors. And the developer has ignored all of these and offered no alternatives. No other proposal has all of these issues, and it should be much easier to say no to Botley West, or at least to approve only a scheme much, much reduced in size. So I just wonder, how many of you, would you mind, did you go to a consultation last year? Could you just put your hand up if you went to one of our consultations? That's brilliant. Well, our survey that you probably also filled in told us that over 60% of people felt they weren't listened to by the developer. You probably agree. In contrast, though, the inspectorate will listen, but only if you register as an interested party. So it'll have a start now button, and it just is telling you before you start, make sure that you've got this information to hand. The most important one, of course, that's going to need some thought is the last one, registration comments. So the advice is, of course, to prepare your registration comments before you actually go and do this. The other thing to warn you is that however beautifully you format your registration comments, and I suggest you do use a word processor to put them if you can do that, and then you can copy and paste it in. Otherwise, just handwrite it and type it in. But your beautiful formatting will disappear. It's completely unformatted once you've typed it. But that's their problem. They'll sort that out, hopefully. So the next thing it'll ask you is who you're registering for. And obviously you're going to say myself, but I just wanted to divert a little bit to say that all in your household can register. In fact, you have to register separately. You can't do it for two people. You can only put one name in. But that's good. We want as many registrations as possible to show the strength of feeling and to make sure that the issues are raised. If lots of people raise an issue, it's more likely to be examined than if only one person mentions it. You can also register for an organisation. So if you run a club, a children's activity or a walking group or an art group or whatever, then you can get together and decide that you're going to put one in jointly for that, as well as one personally for yourself. You don't have to live in the area to do it. So you can get all your friends and family around the country, indeed around the world. It actually says you can do it for outside the UK. So anybody who might even perhaps visit Millennium or know the area and love it can make a representation. So the more the better. Send it to all your family and friends. And finally, of course, if you have, Alex was mentioning some of the people who got flooded out in Cassington, vulnerable people who might not be very au fait with the technology, but are concerned. We can obviously register for them, obviously with their permission. So that's another thing you can do. So the first thing is your full name, which you must put on, and it says if your partner wants to register, they can fill in a separate form, and that needs to go in next. Are you 18 or over? Oh. So that's only because they only ask that. You can register as you're younger, and we hope that interested teenagers will. Get your children, your grandchildren. They're going to be the ones that are in their middle age before this is finished with. The only reason is, as they say, they process the personal details in a different way if you're under 18. And your email address. It will not be published, but they need it in case they need to get back in touch with you. And then your address. Again, they will not publish that, but they just need it for their records to show you it exists. Same with your telephone number, won't be published, but in case they need to get back to you with a question about something, they need that. And then the important page. It doesn't look like a very big box, but it goes on forever. I don't think, has anyone done it and found I don't think there's a limit to the number of words you can put in there. And you can copy and paste from a word processor and get that in there as well. And then you'll see a screen. This is full of junk that I put in. Luckily I backed out before I confirmed, but there you can read everything you've done, you can edit it, but once you accept to continue, that's it. So if you have anything other to add, so you will get, once you've confirmed that, you'll get a letter, an email like this that says, dear, whatever, and it'll give you your registration identification number. That's really important, because if you need to include any supporting evidence, and by that they mean things like photos or maps or diagrams, or a really long document that you don't want to cut and paste, or you want to put it in separately, then you can email them. And you need to do that still by the 27th of February, but later in the process you can do it as well, I'll say in a minute. But you do need to do that after you've got the registration number, but before the 27th. And so if you do that, you can put that extra information in. There will be a sheet for you to take away at the end, but unfortunately I forgot to put in the email address you need to write to. It's very simply Botley West Solar at the Planning Inspectorate, but you can find it out by going to the website, because we'll put it on there as soon as we can.